indulged. But today, I'm going to go over my ideas for the crazy class for a new set, the Wild West themed set. So first of all, we got restock. Crazy uncommon gun trick. One brain. Reload all zombies. So this might look like it's just a worse version of the Mega Grow card, the plant version, reload a plant, draw a card, but that only reloads one target. I do expect that one to be a little bit better in truth, but you see the point. The other one only can reload one target, but the upside is it draws you a card. This one could reload multiple targets, so theoretically there are situations in which it can get less or more value than the other card. My main goal here is just to make sure that one isn't factually better than the other, not to make sure that they're like proper, exactly the same kind of value. I do think that the Mega Grow one is a little bit better, but there are situations in which this is better, which is the bottom line. Then there's Trigger Happy. Crazy uncommon gun trick, 2 brains. A gun zombie does a bonus attack. Conjure a wild and wacky card. If this destroys a plant, draw a card. So that little text on the end might be a bit of an exaggeration. My first idea for this was it was a 1 brain bonus attack, but you'd have to use it on a gun zombie. Then I thought, nah, that's not kind of what I want. I wouldn't want you to get card disadvantage. I should make it conjure a wild and wacky card. But then I thought, now is it like 1.5 sun worth of, should I make, it's like worth 1.5 brains now, I think. So I thought, actually, you know what, I'm just going to give it even more text and make it a 2 cost. And I thought, well, the best I think that'd be fitting for this kind of card would be a reward for destroying a plant, and I thought the most fitting reward would be drawing cards. But you could revert it back to its 1 cost. A zombie does a bonus attack if it's like a gun zombie. Then there's Imp Shooting Imp. Crazy, uncommon, Imp Gun Zombie. 1/2/1. Aimed. Target of attack is chosen randomly. Before combat here, this does a bonus attack. So basically, this does 4 damage in total every turn, which for a 1 cost is pretty crazy. But it can target any lane, and the lane is chosen completely randomly. Also, I'd just like to point out, because it says before combat here, if there is a plant with 2 health that's about to kill it, and you get lucky and it attacks its own lane, it will actually kill that plant before it even gets to attack it, and it will stay alive. This might be worth a little bit more than uncommon, but I just thought that random targets would probably be a pretty big problem with this card, so I decided to make it a uncommon. And just to clarify how this works, apparently, I have never really gotten a good look, but apparently the wrestling star from Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare 2, his gun shoots little, like, imp action figures, so that's my idea for this, like a little imp with a gun shooting these little imp action figures. I thought it'd fit because the wrestling star was added in the kind of like already kind of Wild West themed sort of update for the game back in Garden Warfare 1. And there's One-Eyed Bandit. Crazy, rare, ruffian, pirate, gun zombie. I know technically you can't have 3 tags in the game, but there actually are cards with 3 tags in this game. They're only superpowers, but if superpowers can do it, normal cards can do it too. Anyway, crazy, rare, ruffian, pirate, gun zombie, 2/5/2, so very good stat line. The disadvantages are ammo 2, and this attacks to the left of itself. So this cannot attack on its own lane, and it doesn't attack to the right. If it attacked to the right, it could kill something before it even attacks. It attacks to the other side, so it can't. So the idea is, because he's got one eye, he's a little bit like lopsided with his aim, and it goes to one side. So yeah, I mainly just think this is like just be a really solid card to run in any kind of aggressive or temporary kind of deck. That's mainly just my idea, because his drawbacks are they're somewhat easily exploitable, but they're also pretty easily played around if you use them well enough. So I think that this card is pretty balanced overall. There's just a little bit of a worry that with bonus attacks or something like that, you could get some pretty early kills with this, but I don't think that would be too bad. I don't think it would have to worry about that too much. Then there's Bullet Blast, which is basically I gave the zombies Berry Blast, kind of. Crazy, rare, ruffian gun trick. 2 brains, deal 2 damage. If you have a zombie with ammo, deal 4. It was originally deal 3 damage. If you have a zombie with ammo, deal 4. But because I was thinking, well, it is a rare and Berry Blast is a common, so I think it's balanced to make it like that. But I reconsidered it and I thought, well, zombies. There's a lot of zombies with ammo. It's gonna be pretty easy to have a zombie with ammo on the board. So dealing 4 damage is already gonna be a pretty easy requirement. And on top of that, being able to do damage with zombie tricks is better than being able to do damage with plant tricks because zombie tricks come after. So giving zombies just better Berry Blast for the same cost might be a bit of a bad idea. So I decided that it should be 2 damage if you don't meet its requirements. Then there's a Mortal Tov. Crazy super rare ruffian trick. 3 brains, deal 3 damage, burn 2. So remember, burn is where it takes that much damage at the end of every turn. So I originally wasn't going to make this 2 brains, but I thought that might actually be a bit stupid. Because, again, although it's super rare, which means it's going to be, well, Berry Blast, but better because it's a way higher rarity, I was thinking about it, and it does 2 damage at the end of the turn anyway, so straight away that's 5 damage actually getting bursted out, which, I mean, Scissor Wall is a terrible card, is worth 5 sun, and that does the same thing. So even if it is an uncommon, that's a terrible card anyway. That's still pretty ridiculous. I think Sizzle should cost 4, I think. So that means you're getting 4 brains worth of value out of this instantly, and then extra value for every turn that plant stays alive, and you do another 2 damage to it. So I instead made it a 3 cost. I still think it's worth super rare though. Then there's Arms Dealer. Crazy super rare ruffian gun zombie. 4/2/6, burn 1. End of turn, conjure a ruffian trick. So you might have noticed that there's been a lot of ruffian tricks, well, not a whole lot, but a decent amount of ruffian tricks in this little area. And mainly it was because I was building up to this card. The idea is that this card gets you like a whole load of weapons and stuff like that. Now, I went to check if I'd already made some other ruffian tricks, just in case there was one that got like stuck in the item pool that wouldn't belong there. Because you have stuff like the Molotov kind of card, Bullet Blast, you have all these kind of weapon-like stuff. So I went back and I found that I had added one other ruffian trick. It was the first card I added for the zombies, Brain Brew. But I thought that Brain Brew actually quite fit the Arms Dealer quite well, because while it isn't a weapon like I originally intended, sorry, there he is. While it isn't a weapon like I originally intended, it is still a kind of thing that fits in with the idea, you know, you just get dealing your shady stuff. Then there's Showdown, which is basically the crazy version of Shootout from the Kabloomy class. Only, there are some differences. In fact, there's a difference which is, while it sounds quite minor, I think it would be a pretty big deal. Crazy super rare ruffian gun trick, 4 brains. Do 2 damage instead of 3 to the enemy hero instead of just random enemies for each point of ammo you have. The plant hero does the same. Whoever blocks first, so not when your opponent blocks, you stop and draw a card. Whoever blocks first takes an extra 4 damage afterwards. So you're going to be trying to make sure that you're not the one blocking first, obviously. And you're going to try and do this when your opponent has more on their block meter than you do. So yeah. That's Showdown. That's about it. Then there's Smoking Gunslinger, the first legendary. The burn archetype I originally kind of sort of put in Beastly, but I didn't develop it enough, so I thought actually maybe I should move it to Crazy. And even then I thought, well, nah, let's move it over to Hearty. And I've gone over so many classes now, but I feel like it kind of fits in every class, almost. It doesn't really fit in Brainy, and I don't think it'll fit in Sneaky. So I've basically put it in every class except for Brainy and Sneaky. Well, I haven't done all the Sneaky cards yet. I've got 6 more cards to do, and then I've done them all, and they're all Sneaky cards. So yeah, maybe I will put Burn in Sneaky, but I don't think I will. So yeah, Burn is going to be an archetype shared over all 3 of these classes, but for the most part it's going to be on Crazy and Hearty. So this is kind of Z-Mex thing in a way. So this card is going to be a massive enabler for these kind of decks. Crazy Legendary Ruffian Gun Zombie, 6/4/5, ammo 2, burn 4. You can apply burn to the plant hero. So this might seem like it's not a big deal at first, but remember that burn is permanent. So if you just do 2 burn damage to the plant hero before this dies, then they will take 2 damage at the start of every turn permanently for the rest of the game. That's why this is a legendary and a 6 cost. Although it does look like it's not that crazy at first, really start adding up the stats. This is going to burn stacks too. So you could play this and then a Molotov, and then what? That's burn 2, isn't it? Yeah, Molotov has burn 2. So that's instantly 2 burn, and then if this hits face, that's 6 burn, meaning that they will take 6 damage at the start of every turn permanently for the rest of the game. My only concern is that this card might be a bit underpowered, actually, just because although permanent damage like that is pretty ridiculous, being a 6 cost, the game may be over before the permanent damage really has a chance to set in. But hopefully, if the meta's not too aggressive, if it's nice and slow, this card could be pretty potent. Which is, again, why it's worth legendary. Then we have Mad Matthew. I wonder who I'm referencing here. But anyway, crazy, legendary, gangrene gang zombie, 6/4/4, overshoot 4. When played, do a bonus attack. When this does damage, conjure a wild and wacky card. So, yeah, this card is basically, I just thought, well, what's the crazy, like, gang zombie gonna be like? What's he gonna be? And I just thought, well, he's just gonna be complete randomness, isn't he? So I thought the best way to do that was just, hey, this is like loads and loads of attacks, and every single attack is you get a random card from this set. Which I thought was pretty fitting for this guide. So, there you go. That's Mad Matthew. Pretty simple, although I had gone through quite a lot of stat lines with this. It didn't really sink in with me very well how much of a big deal it was that when he does a bonus attack instantly when you play him as well. Originally, he was a 7/6/4. Yeah, a 7/6/4, which meant that he was a 7-cost trickster that also had his own abilities. And he had overshoot 3 then, I gave him overshoot 4, so it matched his attack. So yeah, this card went through a whole lot of restatting. There was a point where it cost 5. There's a point where it cost 2. And I gave it terrible stats, but I didn't think that would fit. I really wasn't sure where to put this for quite a while. I didn't want to put it on the same cost as Smoking Gunslinger. I wanted the legendaries to be different costs. But I thought that that's not a very important thing to uphold. And I thought it's more important that the card is an appropriate cost than the 2 legendaries are of different costs. So I decided to make it a 6 cost in the end. So anyway, that's it for the crazy class. Before I end the video, I forgot to mention something about Smoking Gunslinger. If you're wondering why I made this, I basically made it because I realised when I made a Mortal Tov, hang on, I never actually established whether burn can burn plant heroes. So this is kind of me saying, yeah, it can't unless you have this. Making it a bit more clear. I didn't think it would be fitting to add it to the text as well. Again, while this isn't like official or anything, like it's going to be an actual real set, it's not like that unless I actually learn how to mod the game somehow. And I am actually bothered to do every single card. Burn, I didn't think it'd be realistic for Burn to have a whole load of text like, oh, and in this condition you cannot hurt the plant hero with Burn only if you have this specific card, and when tap this link, and then, oh, look at this specific card. So I thought it'd be just simple to have this card and say, hey, you can do it now. You couldn't do it before. But anyway, I'll see you in the next one where I'll do the Hearty class, so see you then.